You know, I want to look ahead to the 2018 midterm elections. You've got this recent Wall Street Journal NBC News poll that found that, and I think this is interesting, college-educated women are moving away from the GOP, Hugo. 62% of these women said they would rather see Democrats control Congress compared to just 30% who said the same for Republicans. How concerned should Republicans be heading into the midterms?
I think they need to be very concerned. Historically, the president's party loses big time in the first midterms of the first term of the presidency. So just history by itself would suggest that the Democrats were going to win this time. Now, the president is historically unpopular. He started out unpopular, but his numbers have actually fallen. So to that extent, you know, it's accentuating the historical trend. Plus, what we've got right now is also the Me Too moment. And the president is caught up in that. You'll remember the tape that he was caught on, disparaging or talking in a very vulgar way about women and the way he treated them. That obviously plays into the Democrats' plans for the 2018 election, because they will run again on the Republican war on women. And seeing these numbers, the Democrats must be delighted, because it's a much bigger gap than there was even in the 2016 election.
Good morning, Hugo. Jesse Tarlov here, one of those delighted Democrats to have seen these numbers.
Forget infrastructure. She's loving this.
Infrastructure, Me Too movement benefiting Democrats, all to the good. I'm curious, though, to expound on that a little bit more. When you're reading the quotes that came out in that article about the Wall Street Journal poll there about women, a lot of people are mentioning Roy Moore and the fact that the president backed Roy Moore in the Alabama Senate race. And I've always felt like it was going to be a drip, drip, drip with the effects of the Access Hollywood tape, which you mentioned there, and that it happened so quickly in terms of when the election was that people needed some time to digest it and also to kind of see how Donald Trump was going to govern. Obviously, backing an alleged child molester is not going to help for people.
Right.
And we saw actually that I think it was a 34-point deficit actually for Roy Moore with mothers, which was a lot higher than it was for women who hadn't had children. Do you think that that's what's going on here, that it's a delayed effect of what went on actually in the 2016 race, or it's just the effects of kind of sexual assault movement more generally? Well,
I think that the first time around when the Access Hollywood tape came out, I was surprised by how quickly it went away again.
I know, right?
But this time, ever since Harvey Weinstein was exposed for his extraordinary behavior in Hollywood more than 2 months ago, and more women have come forward to talk about the way that they have been mistreated in really terrible ways and in enormous numbers. The issue has caught fire again, and you know, the Democrats have raised the issue of the president's own treatment of women. So I suspect that this will be played up during the coming year. And frankly, the Democrats have absolutely no reason not to play it up.
But they've got their own issues, Hugo, and I just want to bring that up, though. The Democrats have their own issues, especially going into, again, to these midterms. There's a divide that really is emerging between the party's base. Some want to see the president impeached. Lawmakers are wary, though, of getting that political backlash by attempting to do that on the Democratic side. Do you see that this could have an impact on the midterm if these Democrats really, really go after President Trump?
You know, I think that the Democratic leadership will be able to restrain their the Democratic caucus in Congress. Significantly, the caucus voted to put Gerald Nadler as the chairman of the Judiciary Committee rather than Zoe Lofgren, and he's much more inclined, despite the interview that he did with Politico just it was published this morning, he's more inclined than she would have been to contemplate impeachment. I think that once the midterms are over, that's when the real pressure will be on the Democratic leadership, because there's an enormous majority of Democrats out in the country who would like to see the president impeached. The resistance movement, and they like to call themselves that, is, you know, absolutely on fire for getting rid of the president. And so the backlash is not, I think, likely to come before 2018. It's much more likely to come after 2018.
I think that's a good point that he's making, though, Jessica, to you know, about how far do you want to go against President Trump? I mean, the Me Too movement certainly has been one of the biggest stories of the year, but at the same time,
which the president is wrapped up in.
Which he's wrapped up in, as Hugo's making a great point here. But at the same time, you know, that anger, that emotion can also have a negative effect. It can be a turnoff to some voters.
Well, yeah, I'm not an impeachment enthusiast myself. The thought of a a President Mike Pence is so much more frightening for me in terms of an agenda. His social issues agenda is so much more extreme than Donald Trump, who's really a New York liberal at heart. And I think, adopted a lot of these positions to get ahead in the Republican Party. I think that it is a much better use of our time to deliver good policies for our voters and then win elections.
Right.
So
it's going to be it's a careful
would be
road.
My preference, but
it's a careful road to hoe.
One thing we haven't touched upon here is we're talking about infrastructure.
Right.
The other thing that's been talked about is entitlement reform. Paul Ryan is emboldened by this, by his success on the tax bill, and now wants to cut entitlements.
Good luck to him.
It'll be interesting to see if Paul Ryan can actually, because that is when you're talking about an older voter. That's where that's where they start to draw the line.
Is the
GOP? Well, is that it? Is the GOP playing with fire, trying to do that in the midterm year?
Right.
If you look at Donald Trump's tweets, which is usually the harbinger of what's to come, he said infrastructure next, which I think was a direct shot at Paul Ryan because he promised he wouldn't touch Social Security
and then welfare reform, Hugo. Welfare reform, Hugo. We have to leave it there. Wish I had more time with you, but thanks for getting up with us this early. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.